Dear students, welcome back to the online lectures of Environmental Studies for Semester 2. We were discussing the second module of Semester 2 syllabus titled as Agriculture and Industrial Development. In past couple of lectures, we have thrown light on various problems associated with modern agricultural practices and the related concepts and global patterns of hunger and malnutrition, food security, its global patterns, and food security in India. Sustainable agricultural development practices we have also done. In the last lectures, we were discussing how industrial development is responsible for environmental problems, particularly pollution. Today, we will be continuing the discussion on various environmental problems caused by industrial growth. Before we continue with the discussion, let us have a look at the module objectives. To understand the environmental problems associated with agriculture, to comprehend the ways of sustainable agricultural practices, and to know the environmental problems associated with industries. Today, we are going to focus upon very important global level and regional environmental problems. But before we start, let us have a look at this picture of flood caused in Chamoli district, Vishnuprayag area of Uttarakhand. On 7th February 2021, the dam which was constructed across the Alaknanda river due to the sudden fall of the snow on the banks of this river has led to the breaking of this particular dam and resulted into flood conditions. The story of Kerala flood that occurred in 2018 is still not forgotten by us. Huge amount of losses in terms of lives and property have occurred due to Kerala flood in the year 2018. And the statistic shows that more than 10,000 people or 10,000 homes have been destroyed completely. 14 districts in Kerala have been worstly affected by flood in 2018. And the official figure of fatalities caused by this flood is 164. One more example of Kedarnath flood that occurred in the year 2013, in the month of June, which almost took hundreds of lives and destroy tens of villages and the construction or constructed area or built up area there. Now, this was the situation before Kedarnath flood. All these houses and including temple were well established. But after the flood, almost everything was lost, and that has resulted into devastating effects on the habitation of Kedarnath. 197 people were killed, that was the official data. 236 were injured, and over 4,000 people were missing in the flash floods, which affected 5 districts of Uttarakhand altogether. If we understand the gravity of the natural calamities that we have discussed till now, almost all of them are the meteorological disasters. And all such meteorological disasters are occurring very frequently since a past couple of decades, and also with higher intensity. And therefore, if we look at all these events, all these catastrophic events, it is a matter of fact that the main reason or core reason behind these natural calamities is the climate change or meteorological disasters. Now, this is the data extracted from MDAT, which is the Global Disaster Database, which shows that over the year, I mean, from 1950s to say 2012, consistently the disasters have resulted into economic damages as well as the damages in terms of lives. And most of them are associated with climate related disasters. If we talk about the blue bar graphs over here, we find that all these are the climate related disasters which are more in number and intensity as compared to the geophysical disasters that occur in different parts of the world. And therefore, the increasing frequency and intensity of climate related disasters are actually the outcome of global warming and climate change. And one of the most important economic activity which is responsible for it is the industrial processing or manufacturing activities. And therefore, we need to understand what are the important problems associated with this. Before we actually discuss the global warming and causes of global warming, we need to understand the concept of greenhouse effects. In the temperate zone of the world, where the solar energy is of less intensity, and therefore the farmers in this particular zone construct glass houses and cultivate crops within that glass houses so as to capture maximum solar energy to grow the crops. Now, what actually happens in this glass house is that sunlight, which provides the energy in form of short wave radiation, enters through this glass without any interruption, and then the temperature inside the glass inside this glass house increases. And when the reflected energy that is re-radiated from this is in form of long wave radiation, which is obstructed by this glass, and that is the reason why the temperature inside the glass house is more as compared to that of the outside area of this glass house. And therefore, the heating of the glass house or heating of this particular glass house is caused not only by entering the shortwave radiation through the glasses, but because of obstruction by glass to reflect the re-radiated energy out of this glass house, and therefore the temperature increases. This particular effect or phenomena is called as greenhouse effect. Now this is the actual picture of greenhouse effect, wherein the alignment of these glasses are done according to the direction of the sunlight, and when this sunlight enter into this glass house, uh, the temperature within the glass house or inside the glass house increases, and then the it helps to grow the crop, because crops required to have photosynthesis, to have sunlight for photosynthesis process, and then um, they grow vigorously. No, similar kind of phenomena that happened in to the atmosphere of the earth. Now, when we talk about the natural greenhouse effect that caused on the in the atmosphere, what happened here is sunlight, which is in this shortwave radiation, enter into the atmosphere, and when it enter into the atmosphere, when it reach to the ground surface or the earth surface, almost same amount of energy is re-radiated into the atmosphere. And when it re-radiates to the atmosphere, there are some greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide, nitrogen oxide, methane, ozone. These are the important greenhouse gases which absorb the re-radiated energy from the earth's surface. Thereby, the temperature of the atmosphere increases, and therefore we find that even during daytime there is a sunlight. During night, the sunlight during the daytime, say for example the temperature is 30 degrees Celsius. During night time, temperature do not fall below freezing point, because the greenhouse gases present in the atmosphere, they retain some amount of heat by absorbing radiated energy from the earth's surface, and therefore the greenhouse effects that occur in the natural greenhouse effect phenomena. But what happened when human activities, particularly industrial activities, are responsible for increasing amount of greenhouse gases? As we have mentioned in the earlier lecture, that carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide are some of the important, even sulfur dioxide are some of the important greenhouse gases or important pollutants that are released into the atmosphere through industrial processing. And when their concentration in the atmosphere increases, the amount of re-radiated energy that is being absorbed also increases, and therefore the temperature of the lower atmosphere increases as compared to the natural phenomena, and therefore the temperature of the lower atmosphere increases as compared to the natural greenhouse effect, and therefore the human enhanced greenhouse effect is being found in this particular case. Industrial processing are mostly responsible for it. Now, if we talk about the share of the greenhouse gases in the global warming or in the increasing temperature of the lower atmosphere, we find that carbon dioxide is most responsible gas, which accounts for 85.4% to the total emission of greenhouse gases, followed by methane, nitrous oxide, and other greenhouse gases, including uh, hydrocarbons and some other gases. Now, in terms of the amount of CO2 emission and concentration into the atmosphere and its relation to the temperature increase, we find that fossil fuels, I mean, the carbon emission by the way of fossil fuel combustion and fossil fuel burning of fossil fuels increases in the same proportion or in the same trend. We find that the concentration of carbon dioxide increases into the atmosphere, and at the same time the temperature also changes or temperature also increases with it. So it is evident that the increasing the concentration of carbon dioxide into the lower atmosphere results in increasing temperature, and that's why carbon dioxide is considered to be one of the important greenhouse gas responsible for global warming or increasing the average temperatures across the globe. Now, if you talk about per capita emission of carbon dioxide, which is a major responsible gas for greenhouse effect or for global warming, see, the United States of America is world's largest greenhouse emitting per capita nation with 19.6 tons of greenhouse gas is emitted by every person in United States of America, which is just 0.9 tons per capita in case of India, which is less than the world average of 3.9 tons per capita. And therefore, if you look at these statistics, we find that rich countries, including United States of America, China, Russia, Japan, these are the countries which are industrialist countries or more industrialized countries wherein industries are emitting more greenhouse gases into the atmosphere are responsible for global warming, which this particular statistics reveals. Of the total greenhouse gases emitted across the globe, United States of America alone contribute 23.6% of it, which is a significant share in global warming. Whereas the top 8 countries in the world, including USA, China, Russia, Japan, India, UK, Canada, and Poland, contribute to about 44% of the carbon dioxide emission into the atmosphere. Now, we have seen that United States of America is responsible for greenhouse emission, particularly emission of carbon dioxide, much more than other countries in the world. But unfortunately, it is found that United States of America denied to accept that United States of America is responsible for global warming more than the other countries. So the recent news of 8 October 2018 published in Guardian, it says that USA's argument on climate change is that if we are already doomed being destroyed to disastrous climate change, then there is no reason to cut carbon pollution, argued the Trump administration few years back. And therefore, the denial of carbon emission or climate change denial is again creating the situation more worse as compared to the efforts in controlling the climate change. Now, Donald Trump or Trump administration has said that he will pull the United States out of Paris International Climate Agreement, taken step to cut back the US Environmental Protection Agency, and is on record saying that climate change is a hoax invented by the Chinese to attack US manufacturing. So the international politics is being on fire because of not taking responsibility by these countries on a head, and therefore the problem is still uh, persistent. Now, the stages of climate change denial says that first stage is that they deny the problem exists. First of all, they say that there is no problem. After that, they will say that we are not the cause for this problem. Beyond that, they will say that it's a problem. It's not a, deny that it's not a problem. Then the denial that we can solve this problem. And lastly, if there is no other option, they says that it's too late, we can't help it out. So this kind of approach of Trump administration and even Chinese have then to deny the responsibility in case of climate change and global warming. Let us now try to understand the carbon footprint. Carbon footprint is nothing but every economic activity or every function, physical function performed by human being, has some uh, is something which leads to increasing the carbon concentration into the atmosphere. Now, everything that leads to the generation or production of carbon is nothing but the carbon footprints. So, United Carbon Trust 2008, in the year 2008, defined the carbon footprint as the total set of greenhouse gases emission caused directly and indirectly by individual, organization, event, or a product is nothing but the carbon footprint. So, if we talk about the activities, including the waving activities, wherein and also the paper use of electronic equipments, car or automobile industries, electricity, mobile phones, transportation activities, all have somewhere the impact on production of carbon into the atmosphere. And if we see that individuals carbon emission, if you look at, we find that watching television creates 132 kilogram of carbon dioxide every year. Leaving TV on standby mode increases 11 kilogram of carbon dioxide per year. Taking shower increases 200 kilograms of carbon dioxide year. Bath 57 kilogram. And holidays, if you go on enjoying holidays, it on an average increases 130 kilograms of carbon per year per person. So it totals to about 596 kilogram of carbon per year is the carbon footprint of a person in a year. So that's a very matter of much concern, that we have to reduce the carbon footprint, otherwise we will be under trouble. It's possible to reduce the carbon footprint if we produce the carbon within a limit, within a given set of limit. Definitely we can have. And the only way to come out with the problem of carbon footprint or carbon emission is optimum utilization of resources, or optimum utilization of greenhouse the fossil fuels, in order to reduce the carbon emission, is the only uh, option to it. Now, the global warming or increasing the concentration of carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases into the atmosphere leads to the problem of global climate change. Now, as we have discussed that globally the temperature have started increasing, particularly after 1980s, and this is the period when the global warming is taken place. Globally, the temperatures are growing with around 1 degree Celsius per uh, over the years, and that is a matter of concern. The satellite images or sea surface temperature is also showing that the temperatures are increasing day by day. On an average, the temperature is increasing by 1 degree Celsius over the years, and that has its own impact on the natural environment, glaciers are melting, like suppose this is a Muir Glacier in Alaska, which was filled with ice in 1944, which has totally been melted now. Same is in case of glacier, Pastries Glacier in Austria. This is a picture of 1875, wherein it is full with the ice, but it is totally melt now. Same is in case of Portage Glacier in 1914, which is totally melted now. And there are so many other examples of how the glaciers are retreating and how the snow cover is retreating by the way of climate change and global warming processes. And it is how the reflected in the snow cover. So snow cover has reduced to a larger extent from say about 40 million square kilometers to about say 37 million cubic kilometers. So it's a very drastic change in the snow cover, and therefore the 5% stepwise drop is being found since last few decades. Climate change is also going to affect water quality and quantity also. So the problem of water shortage is going to be persistent in coming years. Food insecurity, particularly in African countries. The spread of infectious diseases is also potential implication of climate change, and also the disasters in long term. So the disastrous effects of climate change is found to be in terms of waterborne diseases, like you see um, malaria, dengue, diarrhea. These are some of the important diseases. For example, malaria kills about 900,000 people every year. Extreme weather conditions are leading to the death toll of 60,000 or more. Diarrhea kills about 22 lakhs population every year. So these are some of the important problems which are indirectly associated with climate change and related problems. The weather related disasters are increasing because we find that every year every country almost suffer from the cyclonic conditions, super cyclones, and that results into loss of uh, health, or loss of you know lives of people on a larger scale, and also innumerable damage in terms of property. Another important regional level problem after the global climate change and global warming is seen. Ozone layer depletion is another important problem. Ozone, as all of us know, is an important gas or important layer which absorb intense ultraviolet rays coming from the sunlight or sun, and it is filtered through this and pure less harmful sunlight that enter to the earth's surface, and therefore the ozone layer works as a filter. But what happened due to increasing concentration of chlorofluorocarbons or release of chlorofluorocarbons to industrial processings, this ozone layer is being damaged to a larger extent. And when this ozone layer is damaged, ultimately the ultraviolet rays will find its way to reach to the earth's surface and will cause disastrous effects on the health of the human being and also the other creatures on the planet. So there are important ozone layer depleting substances like chlorofluorocarbon, which rose from aerosols, refrigerator, air conditioners, or industries related to that. Car using cell plastics, electronic for silicon chips. These are the industrial sources through which the chlorofluorocarbons are released. Methane bromide is produced from pesticides manufacturing. Methyl chloroform from solvent used as a solvent in many industries. Halons from fire extinguisher. These are some of the important industrial segments from where these ozone depleting substances or ODS are released on a larger scale, leading to ozone layer depletion. Acid rain is another important regional level environmental problems associated with industrial growth. So, acid rain in simple terms is the rain that contains acid. It is a precipitation wherein the acid deposition is found, and the first acid rain was reported to be, the concept of acid rain was used by Robert Smith in 18 way back in 1872. Now, if we talk about any liquid substance, whether it is acidic or alkaline or basic, we find that the pH value, if it is less than 7, it is the uh, liquid which can be considered as acid. Now, if the pH value is close to 6, it will create some problem with health. At the pH value of 5, the creatures like eggs, frog eggs, tadpoles, crayfish, and also mayflies die at this particular pH value. All fish die when the pH value reach to 4.2. So this is the acid rain, which has the pH value of 4.2 to 4.4 pH, which is responsible for the same. Now, what actually happened with this acid rain? Let us try to understand. When these chlorofluorocarbon, may it be sulfur dioxide or nitrous oxide for that matter, when they release into the atmosphere, most of the times they are in the in suspension form or suspended form in the atmosphere for a long time. And when rainwater falls on the earth surface, these gases like nitrogen gases and sulfur dioxide turn to mild acid like say nitric acid and sulfuric acid, and they fall on the earth surface in form of acid rain, which destroys the uh, life on the earth surface. And therefore sulfur dioxide and nitrous oxide are responsible for uh, acid rain to a very larger scale. And the industries which are responsible for production of these toxic gases include electric utilities, vehicles, then various other chlorofluorocarbons are responsible for it. Now, this is all about the environmental problems associated with industrial processing, uh, particularly global warming, global climate change, and greenhouse effect. Then we have ozone layer depletion and acid rain, which we have discussed in this lecture. We will be discussing rest of the points in the next lecture. Thank you very much. Have a nice time.